Welcome back, tech friends. Today I've been sent two different coolers, an all-in-one and a standard air tower cooler. Well, they're from a company called CPS, or better known as pccooler, relatively unknown here in the UK, but they sent them out for review, and I'm posing the question, do you need to go out and spend 100, 200, 300 pounds on an all-in-one, or will a standard tower CPU cooler suffice cooling your CPU in 2025? I thought it was a great question to pose, an opportunity to explore a couple of their different products because I've never actually used them before. So we're going to unbox them, we're going to set them up, we're going to actually test them out, and I'll share a few other questions and details with you as well. All the details will be linked down in the description. Any questions, ask below in the comments. Hope you enjoy. Let's do it. So I think the first one we're going to do is we're going to put the all-in-one down to one side, and we're going to take a look at the RT500 TC ARGB. And when we talk about do I need to buy an all-in-one, I think three questions need to be asked. What budget do you have? What type of performance are you looking for? And do you have any restrictions in terms of type of CPU and restrictions around case? Budget wise, if you've got something between 20 and 40 pounds, then this is something that you're going to be looking at in order to cool your CPU. Although there is a whole host of different coolers from lots and lots of different manufacturers, so do your due diligence and have a look. pccooler or CPS have got a whole host of different coolers. They don't just do coolers, they do cases, power supplies, lots and lots of cables, and so on and so forth. That's why I said I'll leave a link down below. Ultimately, guys, this is not a sponsored video, even though they did send these out for review. I get to say what I want, how I want, and no one can tell me otherwise. So in terms of CPU socket, if you've got Intel or AMD, you're going to be absolutely fine. It fits all of them from AM4, AM5, LGA 1151, all the way up to 1851. In terms of dimensions, a lot of people are looking for obviously case restrictions, and this is going to be 152 millimeters. So as long as your case can support that, you are good to go. It comes in a couple of different colors, black and white. It uses a hydraulic bearing. And from an airflow perspective, 73.32 CFM is very, very good. 34.9 decibels in terms of fan noise. It uses a 4-pin PWM connection, so you can control the actual fan speeds, and a 3-pin 5-volt ARGB connection for the RGB as well. Pretty standard, guys. And I will say to you, I'll share the details on screen. Although I've not come across them much here in the UK, you can purchase these off of Amazon. I didn't see them on Amazon UK, but I did see them on Amazon US. So really, really good value. Opening this up, what do we get inside? We get our tower cooler, our fan. So as we said before, this has got a 4-pin PWM connection and a 3-pin 5-volt header. So we can actually daisy chain this to other fans that you may have in your case. 12-volt DC fan as well. Pretty nice looking fan. You have got some dampness here, which is really nice. So that should cushion against that tower cooler and stop any unwanted rattle. Nicely centered logo, nothing worse than having one that looks like it's on the P. That's going to install onto our radiator here, or fin stack. Relatively nice little design on the front here. Some triangles down this side. And on the bottom, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heat pipes that's going to help dissipate that heat from our copper at the bottom down here. Really nicely made and nice finish on it as well. You tend to find that the cheaper, budget-friendly coolers don't have the best of finishes. So included in our accessory box here, we've got our AMD brackets, we've got our Intel brackets, we've got our back plate for Intel. We've also got our standoffs required for the different mechanisms. We've got some thermal paste, or thermal grease as they like to call it. We've got our fan mounts, 2 of those, and we've got a very clear set of instructions regarding Intel and AMD. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install it into an AM5 build. We're actually going to test this out on a 7800 X3D. Now that is a 120 watt TDP chip. So it'll be interesting to see if this nice little budget friendly cooler can handle that. But with that being said, let's get away all of this stuff. Let's attach our fan. Let's mount it to our particular system here. Do some benchmarking. So I think it's a perfect time to introduce our little test system, and you guys absolutely loved this build. It's my son's build. It's an AM5 4090 7800 X3D build, 32 gigs worth of DDR5, etc, etc. But he loves white. I know that you're not all a fan of white, but guys, this is an absolutely stunning build in the King 95. One of my favorite cases and one of the easiest cases to build in. So I know that this is black. I would have loved if CPS would have sent me a white one because it would have looked aesthetically better. But I'm not going to let that actually deter me. We're going to install it. The main aim here is to test out the performance and to give you guys an indication of what that is. So let's spin this around and let's get it ready for some surgery. First thing we've got to do is remove this mounting bracket, top and bottom, by the 4 screws. Next up, we want 4 standoffs, just like that, guys, yeah? There's a big end and a small end. The thick and longer end goes into our actual motherboard, and we're going to put each one in each corner. Now, we take 2 of our AMD mounting brackets, and all that's going to happen here is they're going to slot over there, like so. Effectively, we're just going to put that on there, and then we're going to take these little nuts, these tiny little nuts. We've got 4 of those. And you're just going to put 1 on each end. Same for this side. 2 more nuts. Right, we're just going to snug them up a little bit. Couple of turns. What we want to do is take some of our thermal paste that's already provided. We can give that a go all over our CPU. Remove our plastic cover. Very important you don't forget to do that. Next important thing is to make sure that we've got our tower cooler aligned so our logo's the correct way. And all we're going to do is lower that onto these 2 posts here, and then we're going to tighten these 2 screws. We need to make sure our fan is orientated with the cables coming out the back, and we're pushing air through. So we want to be looking at the actual fan itself. We're going to place our fan mounts on top. So 1 in that corner and 1 in this corner. We're going to place it over our actual fan. And if I can get my fingers in, we're just going to pull back like so. And then we're going to copy the exact same on this side. So just push those in like so. And then all we've got to do is line it up and pull that back. There we go. That's nicely in place. That's not going anywhere now. We've now got a 4-pin PWM connection for our CPU. And then we've also got a 3-pin that we can control the RGB with as well. So our CPU 4-pin is this grey one just where my finger is. Our 3-pin onto our 5-volt header, which is just here. That can push on nicely onto there. Let's turn it on, see what it looks like. We'll turn on the power. Hooray! Beautiful. Looking good. That's looking good as well. So we've got no issues there. All is good. From an aesthetics point of view, ticks the box. From a budget point of view, I believed it was $35 US on Amazon. So again, I'll leave a link down below. Let's move on to some Cinebench and see how it actually performs. So we'll kick it off. We've got our hardware monitor open here. We've got our Cinebench 2024 open here, and we'll do a CPU multi-core test here. What we're looking for here on our CPU is our package temperature, which is this one here. Let's just see what it does. Our temperatures on our package is 75.3, max is 76.6. We've been going now for around about 7 minutes. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we have it. So from a budget perspective, guys, that performed absolutely fantastically. a max temp of 77.1 degrees. The actual CPU fan was oscillating at around 1550 RPMs throughout the 10 minutes. We held around 4755 to 4765 megahertz throughout the actual stress test as well. And we got a score in R24 of 1058, which gives us a good indication for our all-in-one test. So ultimately, do you need an all-in-one? We've just done it on a 7800X3D on a $35 CPU fan cooler, which performed more than adequately, guys. Max temp of 77 at 100% utilization. In games, you're probably going to see high 60s, low 70s in terms of temps, and operating temperatures of CPUs are fine up until the high 70s, low 80s without any issues of longevity problems. So from my perspective, aesthetics would look much better in white in this white case, but obviously it comes in two different colorways. For $35 in the US, which is about £26, £27 here in the UK, I think that that performed more than adequate, and I don't think you can go wrong with this RT500 TC cooler. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. Obviously, from my perspective, I'm pretty happy with that. Results may vary dependent on actual room temperatures, on what CPU you've got, in what environment you're in, and what tests you're actually running. But ultimately, it's just to give us an indication of how it will perform. And to answer a question of, do you need to spend hundreds of dollars or pounds on a CPU cooler in 2025? And the answer very, very clearly is no. But with that in consideration, performance is one thing, aesthetics are another. And if you want to start overclocking, you want to start obviously pushing the limits of these CPUs, then it's better to have a little bit of thermal headroom. And that's not what this particular cooler or budget-friendly cooler is going to do. That's something like a 280, a 360 or a 420mm all-in-one will do. So that's where this bad boy comes into play, which is the DT360 ARGB with a removable or detachable LCD display. So with that being said, let's get this one off. Let's get this one unboxed, go through a few of the stats, then get this installed and show you what you're going to actually get. Now, I have been mega excited about this one, and so has my son as well. So the reason why he's been excited about it is because this cooler's got a 3.4-inch LCD screen. Let's just have a quick look at it. So DT360 ARGB display, a high performance all-in-one CPU cooler. And from an aesthetics point of view, guys, it looks the nuts. On the back, let's just go through some of the specs. So the dimensions are 394 by 120 by 27 millimeters. So it's got a 27 millimeter thick radiator. It's made of aluminium. The water block is 82 by 80 by 62. The tube lengths are 400 millimeters. It's got a ceramic bearing for the pump, and the pump speed goes up to 2600 RPMs at 15 decibels. In terms of pump connector, it's got a 4-pin connector, 12 volt obviously. From a lighting perspective on the water block, it's ARGB via a 5 volt 3-pin connector. And we've got 3 fans which are included, which are 120 fans, all ball bearing in terms of the type. And from an airflow perspective, 83 CFM with 5.7 millimeters worth of static pressure. 4-pin PWM, so we can control those 3 fans. And again, the fans are 5 volt 3-pin controlled. The panel in terms of the screen is an IPS screen. It's a 3.4 inch with a resolution of 480 by 480. So let's have a look. Oh, well, it all comes very nicely packaged. So let's get everything out and let's have a quick look first. And what I can already tell is the 3 fans have already come pre-applied, which will save us some labour time. What's in there? Ooh, that's our screen. We'll have a look at that in a second. And all of our goodies are in this box here. Right, let's get rid of this then. Let's have a look at our goodie bag. Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So it already comes with an ARGB fan hub as well. So if your case doesn't have enough 5-volt 3-pin headers or not enough fan headers, then this little hub here allows 8 fan connections and 8 5-volt connections as well. Power it via SATA and have one cable going to your motherboard rather than lots of PWM and 5-volt connections. So lovely that that's included. In terms of the actual connectivity, I would come to expect, guys, that this will cover everything from AM4 and AM5, everything from Intel 1151 up to 1851 from an Intel perspective. We're going to have our right-angled USB Type-C to USB 2 cable. That's going to actually connect into our LCD screen and allow us to control that screen. We've got all of our screws, which are here. They've also included some EX90 thermal paste, which is a nice little addition as well. And then some very quick, easy to follow instructions for both Intel and AMD in terms of installation. So I love the fact that it comes with that hub. We said that this screen is 3.4 inches. This is really nicely made, guys. This has got an actual aluminium outer shell here, and it's going to be held on via these magnets, and its USB-C connection is at the bottom. I'm hoping that the screen quality is going to be nice, vibrant. And the cool thing about this, in fact, I'm going to save it till later because this is really, really cool, and not that you can actually do this with a lot of coolers. So I'm going to save that little surprise for a little bit later. So, right, let's move this stuff out the way. Let's actually have a look at the cooler. That's nice. That's all aluminium. So the vibe I'm getting here, guys, is this is a premium cooler. This has got some really, really, really nice materials. All the screw holes are all hidden as well. Got a nice little CPS logo, which is here. So normally radiators come in 12 rows. This has actually got 14, which is very, very dense. It's obviously going to help thermally with the dissipation of heat. And these fans, guys, look absolutely mint as well. This is literally plug and play. We've got a daisy chained 5-volt here. This is going to push onto a 5-volt header. This is going to push onto a 4-pin PWM or system fan header. And everything's going to be connected via this one cable. Our tubes, nice, easy, flexible, and they also come included with these cable tidiers as well to keep the tubes nice and easy. On our actual pump, we've got a 4-pin PWM. This is going to push onto a 5-volt header, or if you're like me on the King 95, I've got an RGB controller in the back. Everything's just going to plug into there. Everything's going to work seamlessly. Tell me this is just going to slap on there. That's sick. That is mint. That literally just sits on there like that. That is absolutely wicked. Now, my only criticism is I hate it when cables are coming out the side, because when you've got this mounted here, we're going to have to actually push that up. It's not the end of the world, but we're pushing it up out of the back of our case. The other thing is, why couldn't we have had the USB connection or USB Type-C on this top side? So again, the cable could have come out the top rather than out of the bottom, and then having to fart about with the cable coming down and then around and everywhere else. I'll have to see. I'll hold judgment for that, because at the minute that's something that's going to frustrate me, but it may turn out to be a benefit. Obviously these are RGB. It comes in black and white again, and from the best of my knowledge, from what I can find, I found it on Amazon US. It came in at $162. Looks fantastic value. $160 is about £130, £125, somewhere like that in the UK. What we're going to do is we're going to slap on our AMD mounting bracket. We're going to get all this into the King 95, and then we're going to run that cinebench test again and see how this actually performs. So we'll take our AMD bracket, we'll slide that into place. Should just push all the way along and then clip in. Look how simple this is. So we've put our AMD bracket on. All we've literally got to do is put some new thermal paste on, line it up with these 4 standoffs with our 4 holes on our motherboard, and we can screw that in place. We'll take some of the EX90 thermal paste. We'll give that a good dollop right in the middle here. We're going to orientate our radiator like this. We're just going to push our cables through to the back of our actual case, and then we can rest our radiator in the top of our case like so. Line these up, line them into our holes, and all we're going to do is take a screwdriver and screw them into place. They are spring loaded again, so once you've got one in one side, we go to the opposite side. Again, really straightforward and easy. What we want to turn our attention to now is our actual radiator at the top of our case. So all we've got to do is line it up like so, one screw. I would highly suggest not to over tighten these. Do one corner and then do the other corner. That's just going to keep it nice in place. And the reason why I'm saying don't actually tighten them down all the way, because if I turn this around, you can see I've still got ½ an inch's worth of movement left and right. So if you still want to literally get it perfect, then you've got a little bit of freedom to do that. Once you've got all screws in, then you can nip them down. We can push our cables all the way through. So this is off of our actual radiator. In the King 95, we have an RGB controller, which is up here. So really straightforward. We can actually plug our 5V and our 4-pin PWMs onto this controller here. We have also got the exact same thing off of our pump as well. So all I'm going to do, the same thing, 4-pin PWM, 5V RGB connection through the top of the case and round the back. With these cables, just be mindful, this one's going onto our CPU header. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split that cable a little bit. I'm going to take our 5V, which is here, and I'm going to push that onto another connection, which is up here. And then this one here, I'm going to push back through, and I'm going to attach to our CPU header on our motherboard. This cable here, we just want going on to our grey connector, which is just there. I want to make a peel our USB Type-C right angle connector, and we want to plug that into our LCD screen, and then that is going to sit on there like that. What we can do then is push this around our RAM and push it into the back of the case, and we want this then to connect onto a USB 2 header, one of these 2 connections just down here. The other really sick thing about this screen is it can go anywhere in your case as long as you've got a big enough part or place to put it. So those magnets at the back, as long as this is connected via a USB 2 connection to your motherboard, it's going to actually display everything that you want on this particular screen here. So power on, please work. It's working. I know one 12-year-old that's going to be very happy. Ultimately with this, we are going to have to go into the software. We are going to obviously have to change it. And I do want to actually look at that particular piece of software to see if it's clunky, what you can actually do in there. Is it customer friendly? So on and so forth. So first things first. So we can go to pccooler.cn software. We can download that software. We can go ahead and install that software. And now we can actually go ahead and customize that actual screen, guys. Okay, so this gives us a general overview of our CPU temperature, our GPU temperature, our CPU usage and stuff like that. If we clicked on to information, it will tell us all the information in relation to obviously our system. And then we can click on management here. We can change the brightness of the actual screen. We can orientate the screen and we can angle it so that if you've installed it upside down or whatever else, which I quite like actually. So if you did want that coming out of the top, you could turn that upside down. Even though the logos would be the opposite way, you could have the cable coming out the top, which is ideal, to be honest. You could then click on here if you wanted that, then we can confirm, hopefully. Switch background, there we go, select that one. Pretty straightforward. Again, never used it. It's going to feel a little bit clunky and all that kind of stuff due to the fact that you've got to navigate your way around. So you could come in here. Oh wow, you've got full options to change whatever you wanted here. Control. Okay, so now we can have icons. We can have data. Oh my God, you can do loads of stuff. You can change all the data source. Being very, very frank with you guys, the interface is not the most user-friendly. It's very snappy. Once you click OK, absolutely fine. Ultimately, the screen is not as bright as I wish it could have been, but it gives a really nice 60 Hertz on that 3.4 inch display. It's got a nice IPS 3.4 inch screen. It looks really nice, and in all honesty, once I've got my head around this interface, it will probably be really easy. But for a first-time user that just wants to go click, 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 upload the latest GIF or the logo or whatever it may be, I can see it being a little clunky and not as user-friendly as some of its competitors. But that being said, give it a fair shout. It does exactly what it says it can do, and ultimately, once I've got used to it, it'll probably be all right. The big test is actually the CPU performance and actually the cooling performance of this. So let's get out of all of this. Let's get into Cinebench. Let's do some actual thermal tests. So let's start our multi-core CPU test, and I'll speed it up and then we'll come back right at the end to discuss the results. We've just hit 1050, so 1050, 1051 in the realms of obviously 0.01%. So one thing I can say to you is though, the temperature's 70.9, guys, 6.3 degrees less in terms of temperatures, and it doesn't hurt that it looks fantastic as well. And now we're dropping right down, look, to 38 degrees. I love this. I really like it. Easy installation, easy on the eye, customized LCD detachable screen, really nice quality in terms of the screen. Could be a little bit brighter, but may be able to obviously update that with a software update. The software itself is dead easy to download, but a little cumbersome in order to obviously navigate, but given 48 hours to get through it and check round it and obviously find my way, and I don't think that would be an issue. It's got loads of different options in there and you can do whatever you want. It's just perhaps too many options, if you know what I mean. But $160 versus our tower cooler, fan air cooler, $35, 6-7 degree difference. I think it shows just how good that particular tower cooler, this one here, actually is. I think for $35, it's an absolute bargain. I think that answers the question. Do you need to get an all-in-one in 2025, or will one of the best gaming CPUs out there be cooled via a $35 cooler? And the answer is, you'd be absolutely fine with one of these. But if you want to take it to that next step, then this is obviously your choice. I think my 12-year-old will prefer the LCD screen, so we're going to keep that in there. I want to say a massive thank you to pccooler or CPS for sending these out for review. If you're interested in this brand, I will leave a link down in the description because they've got a whole host of other products that they've not sent me out. But we are going to be checking in next week's video an ATX 3.1 PCIe Gen 5.1 1000 watt power supply, because I think on face value it offers immense value, and I'm interested to see what that actually has to offer as well. I'm hoping that you've enjoyed the video. If you have, 97% of you still aren't subscribed, so smash that bloody like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Bye.